A few weeks ago I was notified via Facebook that the last event of the Northeast Divisional SCCA Rallycross Championship was about to take place. The venue was Walchick's Farm, a field outside of Weedsport, New York that was made popular in my life as a rallyist. Years ago, this was the first event I ever competed in the US, and I was excited to return. This was a 2-day event. The first day was a night event at the farm, and the second day was Sunday morning at Rolling Wheels Raceway. There was a problem, however. I didn't have a car to use. My Subaru's motor was out for a rebuild, so my good friend and Subaru Justy driving lunatic Mike Julian invited me to stop by the Justy garage in Reading, PA to pick up his teal one to drive to the event. That's right, he has 2 Justies. In the US, Justies were sold from 1987 to 1994 with a 1.2-liter inline 3-cylinder. From 1988 onward, there was an option of a 4-wheel drive model. I've always been interested in purchasing a Justy, but never had the chance to even drive one. Until now. What's up, everybody? I'm outside of Binghamton, New York. It's a Saturday morning, and we are on our way to a night SCCA Rallycross. And right now, I'm driving a old-fashioned, not really, second-generation Subaru Justy World Rally Teal. It's got mud flaps, it's got snow tires, it's ready to attack any Rallycross course we got. The only thing is I'm not actually racing this car at all. Turns out I'm racing the 2004 STI in modified all-wheel, which is in front of me. The STI was driven by modified 4-wheel drive class leader Brian Batucci. In typical rallycrossing spirit, he offered to let me use his STI instead since it was in the class I competed in. It was a Subaru Convoy, first-generation black Justy being pulled by Mike's Turbo Legacy, the teal one I was driving, and a 2004 STI. I'm driving this because, hell, why not? I was going to race it before I was going to race the STI, and I'm a little bit nervous about rolling it because, as you can see, it's a bit tippy. This is the 1991 model. So this is the model with the electronic fuel injection. It's the first one with electronic fuel injection. We were 15 miles from the event, and then Mike pulled the Legacy over. Oh, we're pulling over again. This isn't good. It was sputtering weird. He had a cylinder 4 misfire, so we decided to take the black Justy off the dolly and drive it the rest of the way. I was called upon to drive it since the clutch was challenging for Mike's girlfriend. I'm driving Justies up to the event because, well, I expected to only drive the teal Justy, but now I'm driving 2 Justies up to the event for emergency purposes. Decided that I wanted to drive a Justy because I've never driven a Justy before. Now I've driven 2 in the span of 2 hours. So I've always wanted one, and after driving that EFI, that teal one I was just in, I'm sold. I want it as a daily. I mean, it's a car that gets 40 miles to the gallon, and it actually, yeah, you can't fit much, but it has some pep. And after owning my Toyota Starlet in New Zealand, I really want a small hatch again. I really miss that. They're good cars, and they're unknown. People are like, whoa, what's that Volkswagen Golf? And they're like, no, it's a Subaru. This is first generation Justy, carbureted model. It's all rallied out. It's got stickers and shit. Mike races this like literally almost every weekend of the summer. And it shows because, man, does this thing have a rattle to it. Wow. It also is stock suspension because that's all he could find so far for this thing. Doesn't find anything that fits. Is that 5th? Oh, there's 5th. Oh boy. The stick has like a good 4 inches of play back and forth, so I'm just guessing where the gears are. We made it to the event, unloaded the gear. Street wheels off, gravel wheels on. It was nice to see more people show up for this event than the last time I was here. Even some crazy dudes from Alfred University showed up in a dually. Yeah, a dually F350. It's stock ride height, so I guess they allowed it to run. Front-wheel drives and stock all-wheel drives ran first. And I was terrified but happy to spectate from a platform crane some 80 feet in the air. Night fell, and it was time for me to jump in the STI. By the way, this is no stock STI. It's incredibly weight reduced, with the interior completely pulled, including the sound deadening. A Stage 2 turbo setup, no restrictor, and DMS gravel rally coilovers made this thing faster and more nimble than most cars entering Rally America. Giving me the keys to an STI after spending all day in a Justy is like handing someone an airsoft gun in the morning, and then replacing it with a semi-automatic rifle by dinner time.
Woo! This is quite a bit faster than a Justy!
Almost immediately I could tell that the gravel tires were the wrong choice. The car was pushing badly, and with the added power of the STI, having the wrong tires certainly didn't help with the wheel spin problem.
It's a long course, and I feel like I'd almost need a co-driver, to be honest. I mean, it's literally that tight and long and twisty, and you can't really see, you can't see the next corner. So think about being a stage rally and you're in the thickest woods and you can't tell where that corner is going at all. That's exactly what this is. So it's all memorization.
I was a few seconds behind Brian on the first two runs, but as the rain started falling harder and harder, I was crawling back time, beating him on the third run. The car kept getting sloppier though. At some point I was spinning tires through 3 gears before getting any traction up the hill. Some all-wheel drives were even getting stuck. And let's not even talk about the two-wheel drives trying to make it to the start line. For those reasons, the event was called early for the night. I ended up trailing Brian by a few seconds. We raced back to Rolling Wheels to set up tents. Wet and soggy, but still pumped up on adrenaline, I found shelter in my tent editing photos and falling asleep to some rally car inspiration.
Certainly within striking distance of the podium, should any of the top 3 have serious issues.
David has been battling issues with his centre differential, which has forced him to periodically drive as though he's holding down the brakes.
Tomorrow was another day.
Oh, we're moving 1,000 tons of mother's milk.
If you don't get that reference, don't be creeped out. You just have to see Mad Max. Anyway, I woke up to the Mad Max war rig driving clockwise around a dirt oval. This was not a good sign. You see, when it rains, their synthetic dirt surface turns into a slip and slide. People swear to me that this surface is amazing when conditions are dry, but having only been here when it rains, I have yet to believe them. We stood around event organizer James Quattro, as he struggled to find a way not to cancel the event altogether. Because, well, after a couple of reconnaissance laps for the all-wheel drive cars, you could tell that when it came time to run the two-wheel drives, they weren't going to be going anywhere. We had time to kill waiting for that rain to stop and the trucks to finish drying the course. Finally, it dried enough for them to allow the all-wheel drives to run, so I jumped in the STI and started the second day.
There we go.
From the get-go, it was more slippery than the first day. But for some reason on today's track conditions, the gravels were stiff enough to dig up the crazy Rolling Wheels mud.
Just trying to get all the grip I can.
I powered down where I could, using boost merely to create wheel spin with hopes that somehow the car would hook up and get me to the finish faster. I got good speed down the straightaway. Maybe a little bit too much speed.
I'll have to take the penalty there. There's third.
I had a 2-cone penalty on the first run, but I was still the fastest time so far. And on the second run, I was cleaner and faster. 2 runs in the books, and I was gaining back lost time from last night.
Whee!
How'd it go?
55, but I hit 2 cones.
Nice.
What'd you do?
59-2.
Holy shit. Well,
By 4 seconds. Very nice.
yeah, but I got 4 seconds of penalty.
So did I.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's nice. I'm back at ya. Dude, I got cooking down that.
So did I.
That's what happened. I couldn't stop.
Me too.
All right.
After 2 course laps and watching a few of the cars get stuck, we were on another course hold. The mood in the paddock was gloomy since all-wheel drive cars were considered done for the day, and we only got 2 runs. But it was an incredible 2 runs for me. I ended up pushing past Brian for the win, and since this was considered the final Northeast Divisional event for the season, it meant 10 points for me on the last round. For the overall championship, it wasn't enough, however. Brian edged me out for the season by 1 point. Sure, it would have been nice to finish on the top, but honestly, this is exactly why I do Rallycross. For the battles that are this close. Oh, and the friendships, of course. You see, Brian letting me use his car in the first place was the only reason I was able to finish second. So, this was all very well, but what about those 2-wheel drive cars? Free laps at Rolling Wheels Raceway. Yeah, that was the gift. 2-wheel drive cars didn't get to run a race all day, but we ended up freestyling around the track for a good hour or so. And when I say we, it's because, well, remember that Justy I brought to the track?
Holy shit. And there's a dually drifting. Holy. Guys, this is crazy. Right now we're on Rolling Wheels Raceway and it's about as muddy as ever. Ah! Oh, it's so heavy. Woo!
This track was so incredibly muddy and slippery, and the Justy's so light, that at times while I was trying to left foot brake the car, all 4 wheels would lock up and the car would stall. And the Justy by no means has good brakes. I can't say I've had anything like that happen before.
Little e-brake. Keep the power in. It's like the Cavalier. I'm coming from driving this up here and then driving an STI all weekend and then getting rained out and then getting to do this. This made it all worth it. Free laps at a slippery Rolling Wheels in a car the size of a shoebox. Never before can you run with a dually and a grader. Look at that. The grader's coming at me and I'm going the other way. What the hell? Look at this. I got a dually in front of me. I literally, look at him. I'm not gonna get too close. I don't want him to spray me. Ah!
Of course, having a dually Ford pickup truck on track had me a little worried. If you recall the last time I raced a Ford pickup truck around Rolling Wheels Raceway, it didn't end well.
I can't see. I can't see. I cannot see. Ah! Ah!
Sure, the 24-hour Rallycross event turned out to be a washout from hour 1. But thanks to a majority of the racers trying to keep our spirits up, we got what we could out of it. And in the end, I got to do yet again something I never thought I would. Racing Justies around a muddy track while scanning the area for that oncoming grader.
Woo. Rolling Wheels Raceway, you have produced some of the weirdest racing I've ever seen. Well, that's the end of my show. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you guys like this stuff, I want to keep putting more out. I know I can't get the music and all that. I can't afford it. There are a lot of rights. We're trying to do this stuff legally. But if you like the story, let me know. Share it on Facebook, like it, comment. I really appreciate it because I'm just kind of doing this for fun. I'm not really making a penny off this. So anyway, if you'll excuse me, I've got some more redneck fun to do in this here piece of shit Cavalier. So, catch you next time. Woo! Oh man, I just totally Bill Nye'd that ending.